All right, so sharing a whiteboard in a Teams meeting. So I've started a meeting. You can see I have two participants. Two of my learners are here. Of course, you probably have a lot more. So what I want to do is I'm going to come up to my sharing icon and I'm going to click my share button. Again, I always include my computer sound. Now, you will notice that there is a new feature called Annotate while sharing your screen. When you do this, when you start sharing your screen, a toolbar appears at the top of your screen. You may have noticed it in the past. There's an icon, a pencil with a squiggly line. That's the annotations. I'll show that in a little bit. But interesting that now this brand new feature is being called out when you share your screen. So I'm going to close this out. Now I'm not going to be sharing screen. I'm going to be sharing a whiteboard. So I'm going to click Microsoft Whiteboard. And it's going to take just a moment because it has to launch. So here we are, we have our whiteboard, and you can see that I have different boards that have been created in the past, or I can create a new one. Let's go with one that's already been created. I get some tips. Control-Shift-J will move objects. All right, so here I am. I am in with my whiteboard. You can see my two students are here. Let's take a walk before I show you what they can do. So of course, I can create sticky notes of varying colors and even in grids. So if I needed, let's put these ones out. I just drag and drop. There it is. I can move this around. I can also duplicate this. I can copy it. Click off, Control V, and paste another one right next to it. So I can add additional sticky notes, or I can do it this way. I can click into one sticky note and click all. All right, notice here I can edit text within the sticky note. I can change the color of my sticky note. I can delete that sticky note. All right, so I can do this with notes. I can add text boxes, and I can type into my text boxes. I can highlight and change the color of my note. I can make it bigger. I can add shapes. So I have ready-made shapes that I can put in. I just simply click and then click to place it. I can change the color of it, etc. I can even double click into it and add text. All right, so shapes, including lines and arrows. We can now also react to each other. Click, click. I can make it bigger. I can make it smaller. So I can react to other people's postings. I can also add images from my device and from Bing. So again, if I'm using my device, I want to make sure that I am following any licensing, so Creative Commons licensing, before I share this, especially because it's a Teams meeting and I might be recording the session. So I can also search Bing images and leave the Creative Commons only box checked so that I know I'm honoring those licensing requirements. So I'm going to click my eagle. I'm going to insert my eagle, and it just needs to download it and place it. Oh, it's not letting me. Interesting. So let's try again. Let me try something different. Try this one. Let's try some cute puppies. There we are. So there's my puppies. So I can drag and drop them. Again, this is infinite canvas, so I can scroll by clicking and dragging. I can scroll up and down. So this is infinite canvas. I'm going to remove that. There are templates as well. So we can do some brainstorming. Move over here. There's affinity diagrams, brainstorms, brain writing, and they're always adding. There's a mood board, topic brainstorm. So you can do even problem solving, so cause and effect diagrams, cost benefit analysis. You can play here. You can even add games. But here's for education, the 5 W's and an H, compare, contrast. And again, I can also add documents. So I can look at recent files that I have used, so PDFs and PowerPoints in general, I can add. So if I upload a PowerPoint, I can choose any of the slides or all of the slides, and my students would be able to access those so that they can view the PowerPoint slides at a later time. So just for this, I'm going to put a couple of Post-it notes up, different colors. There we go. Now, notice at the top, I have my inking tools, including a laser pointer. So while I'm sharing, I can be laser pointing. There's a ruler, there's a lasso. So there's lots of different things that I can use. Over at the top, I have the settings bar. So I'm going to click settings. When I'm finished, I can export this image of my whiteboard as a PNG file. And that way I can post it in Teams. I can post it in a OneNote notebook. We also have collaborative cursors. So collaborative cursors, and I'll split my screen and show you, collaborative cursors show where all the other cursors are on the screen so people aren't writing over each other. I can use enhanced ink shapes, so if I draw a triangle, it'll snap it to a good triangle. And I can choose whether my learners can edit or not. I can also format the background, so I could do a grid, a dot pattern, I can do graphs, we can do narrow ruled paper, I can change the color, etc. All right, so let's look at this on the student side. So before I go over to the student side, I just want to show what happens if you add something such as a Post-it note for your students to type into or write into. So I just put a gigantic yellow Post-it note, and I'm going to switch over to my student Alex's screen. You can see it's here. If it doesn't show up, advise the students and yourself. If you don't see what a student is doing, zoom out. Because remember, infinite canvas. Now notice when I zoom out, Alex can see where my last cursor was, where my last pointer was before I left that screen. All right, I'm going to zoom in. That way we're not writing or typing right over each other. And now I can type in and say, hello, let's edit. Hello, I am Alex. All right, so now as Alex, I can do things like take a pen, I can draw on my Post-it note. If I double click a pen, I can change its color, including my favorite, which is kind of the galaxy look. And I can change the thickness of the pen, and I could even turn it into an arrow, a single or double arrow. So when I draw, it puts an arrow on it. Isn't that cool? Instead of trying to draw an arrow. And notice up at the ink at the top at the bar, it shows me what I'm going to be drawing. And I just fix that by clicking it and going back to no arrow. Then I can just regularly draw. All right, switching back real quickly over to the teacher side. Teacher sees everything. And zooming off, again, now I can see where my student's last pointer was. So as we're working together, our cursors are going to be moving around the canvas. So all of my learners are going to have a cursor in a different color with their name attached to it. So we can see where each other is. So if I have a template, say with a grid of Post-it notes, I will be able to see where my friends are, where my learners are, where my colleagues are. So I'm not trying to type into that same space. So collaborative cursors, those are turned on. So Whiteboard is very easy to access. Again, all I'm going to do, if I'm a student, I have the same controls. Now, let's turn them off. Let me turn off the collaboration. I'm going to turn off the editing ability. And what happens? So now I have a note, view only. You can only view this whiteboard. So if I want to make changes, if I want to start editing, I'm going to have to ask my teacher to let me. So notice now all I can do is move around. My templates are gone, my Post-it notes are gone, my inking ability is completely gone. So that's Whiteboard in a nutshell. It's a very interesting tool. It's a lot of fun to use, and it's built right into Teams. Now, again, as the teacher, When I'm finished, I can export this image, and I can choose whether I just want standard resolution. So if it doesn't need to be super fine detail, standard is probably just fine. If I put it as high resolution, it's going to be a fairly large size, and I might not be able to send it by email. I could post it, but I probably won't be able to send it. So I can export this to my computer. Then I have a copy, a record of this particular whiteboard. Now it is going to save. My whiteboard is going to save. So if I click on the home, notice now it says that I'm currently editing and it shows my student work. So I can save that. Whiteboard's going to be saved. We can open it at any time. So after I end the meeting, where is that whiteboard going to be saved? So I can find it. Of course, I can open the Whiteboard app and I can find it there. But since it was shared during a Teams meeting, I can find that meeting in chat inside Teams. So I click on my chat icon on the left rail and I locate the meeting where I had that whiteboard in use. When I click into it, notice I have all my chat files, the attendance for the meeting, and the whiteboard will be here. So we'll be able to access it. And if I leave it on so that people can edit, the members of the meeting, the students, the learners, the colleagues who were in the meeting originally would be able to come back in and continue editing the whiteboard. So I can shut that off, of course, because I'm the organizer. I can make it view only, or I can allow them to continue working. Thank you so much again for joining today. As promised, my contact information is up on the screen. If you do find yourself in need of support, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm here to help in whatever way you need. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And again, thank you. Cheers.